That's your condo?
Yes, that's our condo.
But you didn't list it on Airbnb?
I did not.
Sandra Jovicevich rented her downtown Toronto condo out in May of 2016, hoping to make a long-term investment. Things went smoothly at first, until about a year later.
Got a phone call from our concierge. It was about noise complaint.
Jovicevich says she was also shocked to learn that according to the concierge, the unit had been listed in their system as an Airbnb condo the entire time.
During inspection, we did not find one single personal item in the unit.
And Jovicevich isn't the only one. By using a hidden camera and posing as Airbnb customers, the CBC investigation found another condo owner whose unit was being listed on Airbnb without their consent, raising serious questions for apartment owners and Airbnb customers alike. Reporter Lauren Pelly conducted that investigation. Okay, Lauren, this is a story that is of interest to an awful lot of people. When did you know that you had a story on your hands?
Well, this woman, Sandra Jovicevich, she came to us and said, I have this story for you. She had all these documents, all this information where she said, you know, I know that my condo is being rented out behind my back by my tenant or my property manager, I'm not sure, but she had all the proof, it seemed, in her mind to show that. And I think that was the moment where we realized that there was a nugget of a story here, whether it was just her issue or perhaps there was more to it. But I love when sources come to you with a bit of research done. You know, they kind of act like their own private investigator or an investigative journalist doing all that research. So she had copies of emails, she had the lease agreement, she had found the Airbnb listing, and she had found this host on Airbnb who had multiple other listings and around 700 reviews. So in her mind, she wondered, you know, is my condo, you know, being rented out behind my back, and is this happening to other people too by this same mysterious Airbnb host? So that really got us thinking, you know, maybe she's right.
So it sounds like this condo owner gave you a great foundation on which to build. Then you went with a hidden camera. And of course, in this business, we love hidden cameras. But there's a decision process that goes into it. How did you make that decision, and how did it play out for you?
Well, I think with hidden cameras, I mean, they're fun to use, but you don't want it to be a gimmick or a TV technique. But in this case, I had said, how do we show this? How do we show the process of trying to rent this woman's condo through Airbnb without actually doing it ourselves? So that was our thought process. And perhaps naively, we went in thinking, you know, she's going to rent out Sandra Jovicevich's condo. That's the listing we booked. But when we met this woman, you know, she said to us, that condo's not available, and she took us somewhere completely different. So it was a bit of a surprise for us. I'm glad we went that route, because we wouldn't have found out that this host was listing multiple condos without their owner's permission had we not done that shoot. So I find sometimes with the hidden camera, you should use it sparingly, but you can uncover things that you actually didn't expect, which took our story in a whole different direction.
And from the standpoint of the viewer, it does help to boost your credibility as a journalist too, doesn't it? Because the viewer is taken there. Yeah,
and I think that, you know, you kind of have to gauge it. Is there any other way to show this? A hidden camera, I think, like I said, shouldn't just be used every time that you want to show something, but in this case, there was no other way to show that. And I think for credibility, yeah, we were there. We met the host. We talked to her. And our video producer did a great job of just, you know, casually trying to get information out of her. Who are you? Do you own this condo? And she freely gave information. She said, I'm a property manager with multiple units in the city. And then she brought us to a unit and gave us the keys. And when we looked up the property records, you know, this woman who took us there wasn't the owner. It was someone completely different.
Which brings us to my last question, the implications of all this, because there's lots of property owners out there, there's lots of people who use Airbnb. What are the longer term, the broader implications of all of this investigation?
Well, I think for landlords, it's a bit of a wake-up call, because if you think you have a tenant, do you really know who's living in your building? Do you know, are they a long-term tenant, or is perhaps something else going on? But I think for everyone who uses these services, it does raise questions, because this is happening across the country. Since the story came out, I've had multiple people emailing me saying, you know, I had to stay in Vancouver, and when I got there, it was a different condo, and they told me to sneak around and don't tell the concierge you're here. You know, so whether you're using a service like this, or you're a landlord or a property owner of any kind, I think it just raises a lot of questions about, you know, the legality of this. And for cities like Toronto and across North America, there's a lot of changes now to regulations where they're trying to make sure the legislation keeps pace with the rising popularity of all these websites.
It's a great story, and I don't think we've heard the last of it.
We'll see, yeah.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks.